We're diving off the coast of Andros, the largest island in the Bahamas. For the past few days, we've been working together, getting acquainted, and checking our equipment. This is a diving and filmmaking expedition. We're preparing for a deep dive on the wall, the mile-high submarine cliff of the Andros Barrier Reef. Our crew of divers and photographers has been assembled from many different places in the country. Walter is a NAUI instructor. He comes from the state of New York. Phil is a NAUI instructor from the island of Nantucket. John Bell is a NAUI instructor. He teaches in Marion, Indiana. An accomplished underwater photographer, Smokey hails from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Chris is a NAUI instructor. She comes from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a NAUI instructor. My name is Barry Allen.
Our base of operations was the lodge at Small Hope Bay. During one of our few shooting breaks, John Bell and I met Dr. Don Butterfield, a close friend, good diver, and frequent visitor to Andros. Don joined our crew for several days as a still photographer. His knowledge of the islands is extensive. This was a good opportunity for us to learn more about the Bahamas. Don told us that there are several hundred Bahama islands, all sitting on two submerged plateaus called the Bahama Banks. Little Bahama Bank and Great Bahama Bank rise from the deep ocean floor 6,000 feet below. Andros, the largest of the islands, but the least inhabited, clings to the eastern edge of Great Bahama Bank. The top of the plateau is an average of 20 feet beneath the surface. Rich in coral and fish life, this is the Andros Barrier Reef. At the extreme edge of the reef, the bottom drops vertically into the tongue of the ocean, 6,000 feet of submarine cliff.
We were, for a time, great shipbuilders. late afternoon, we met to plan our next dive, our last practice before we attempt the wall. We're going to descend 75 feet to a sunken ship. John will operate the Aeroflex underwater movie camera. Walter and Chris will use the Nikonos amphibious 35mm cameras with electronic flash. Phil and I will carry the handheld movie lights. The Bolex underwater movie camera, which would produce the important cutaway and close-up footage, is Smokey's job. We rigged the outboard motors and went to bed. The inflatable boats were perfect. We had plenty of space in each one for 3 divers, their gear, and all the cameras. The water over the reef is shallow, often less than 20 feet deep. Near the edge of the reef, the ocean is a deeper blue. The bottom is 75 feet below. We have come with an offering for Duke the grouper, the big fish who lives here. We have brought his favorite food, cut up conch. We hope he's hungry and will come out to eat. Duke remained in hiding, so we set about to feed the smaller fish and waited. What fantastic appetites. The food was gone in half a minute, and still no big grouper. Being in charge and not being able to yell is frustrating. But the crew finally got the message and we were off on our second objective, documenting the fish and coral life of the reef. Duke the grouper remained Duke the elusive. He just wanted to be alone. It was time to go, while we still had enough air for the ascent. Everyone's on board, and we're moving. Goodbye to the reef, goodbye to the wreck, goodbye to the fish, and goodbye to Duke the elusive grouper. We hoped he was a little impressed by our visit. Walter's topside job was equipment maintenance, but he tended to overdo it. No, this isn't a ritual Sundance. We're rehearsing our positions for tomorrow's 200-foot dive down the wall. Smokey, John, Phil, and I raced. Wow! Walter's comment about the flooded motors was rewarding. If we were working instead of goofing off, he said, this wouldn't have happened. Thanks, Walter.
The motors were eventually dried out and remounted. But for tomorrow's dive, we've decided to use the big flatboat moored at the lodge. In the morning, we'll descend to a narrow ledge on the face of the wall, 200 feet below the surface.
The day of the wall begins early. Our previous dives have been relatively shallow. We've been able to stop the action, correct a temperamental camera, repair a leaking light, then resume shooting. The wall won't permit such convenience. Everything must be go, or we'll be forced to abort. The flatboat is our support vessel for the dive over the wall. We'll be descending the east face of the submarine cliff. The morning sun will provide us with maximum natural light. Our craft is long and wide and rides the open sea very well. We're anchored on the reef's rim, 90 feet below. Our dive plan is based on air consumption alone. We've calculated a maximum bottom time of 8 minutes. That time may be cut short if called for by the decompression meter. With slightly over 2,000 pounds in our tanks, each of us will have 58 cubic feet of air to breathe. This will allow 1 1/2 minutes assembly time on the anchor line, a rapid 2-minute descent to 200 feet, a stay at the ledge of 4 1/2 minutes, and a 3-minute ascent. This dive plan is a digression from the U.S. Navy tables. However, our experience with the decompression meter indicates that it is reasonable. On all our deep dives, we've used the decompression meter with obvious success. The final check of the gauges. Phil and Walter will help me monitor depth and time. We begin. "90 feet, the bottom really begins to slope. 120 feet. We're going over the wall.
This film was made on location at Small Hope Bay Lodge, Andros Island, in the Bahamas. Music composed and realized by Michael Rendish.